The diesel locomotive of the 110 series is in TT gauge and was built by the company called VEB Berliner TT-Bahn in the former GDR. The locomotive is powered by two sets of wheels, one of which has traction tires to increase the locomotive's tractive power. The lighting is not functional, but the weights ensure that the locomotive runs smoothly. The length over the buffers is 116 millimeters. Now, if you search for the 110 series, you will come across more than one locomotive, as with other German locomotive series. For the Deutsche Bundesbahn or Deutsche Bahn, the German state railway in the western part of Germany before 1991, and for all of Germany ever since then, the Class 110 refers to electric locomotives, which were originally referred to as E10 before the year 1968. In contrast, the Class 110 diesel locomotives belonged to the Deutsche Reichsbahn, the state railway in the former GDR. Before 1970, those were known as the V100 series. Locomotives of this V100 series were built between 1966 and 1985 in the towns Babelsberg and Hennigsdorf, with an operating mass of 64 tons, depending on the engine and thus the series. They could reach speeds of up to 100 kilometers per hour. In doing so, it filled a gap when changing tractions within Eastern Germany. Originally, only the diesel locomotives called V15, V60, V180 and V240 were planned. However, this meant that there was no diesel locomotive that could be used in light to medium passenger and freight train service as well as in heavy shunting service. This gave rise to the idea of an additional diesel locomotive with 1000 horsepower and ultimately the well-known V100 with its striking red color and the central driver's cab was produced. However, the first prototype in 1964 still had a 900 horsepower engine and a blue paint job, but the second prototype got already the 1000 horsepower engine and the aforementioned red paint. These two locomotives were the only ones of this series that were manufactured in the city of Babelsberg. Unfortunately, both model locomotives were destroyed in a major fire. Series production was then handed over to the locomotive construction company in the city of Hennigsdorf. Another prototype was created there in 1966, which actually still exists today and belongs to the Deutsche Bahn, to the Railway Museum in Nuremberg, but is on display at the Berlin-Anhalt Railway Association in the city called Lutherstadt-Wittenberg. Interestingly, it always had a white paint job with green stripes. There were and are a large number of color experiments on the locomotives of this series, but the red paint is the most well known. There were also numerous construction variants, such as the 111 series, the 112 or the 199-8. If the latter numbering seems strange to you, as it is a long way from 110, be reassured. The original designation of the Class 199-8 locomotives was indeed V102. However, they were converted for a special use. In the 1980s, people in the Harz Mountains wanted to replace steam locomotives with diesel locomotives, among other things because of increasing freight transport. Therefore, 10 locomotives were converted to meter gauge. This required a fundamental change, namely the installation of 3 axle bogies in order to reduce the axle load to 10 tons. Then again, the converted locomotives became 10 centimeters higher and rocked so much that they have ever since then been known as the Harz Camel. The V100 series is probably one of the best known series of the Deutsche Reichsbahn today and is still used in a variety of ways.